We're so back. We are so back after months of incredibly inconsistent uploads. And yes, I know I need to finish the season reactions. I am going to a festival this weekend, going to Greenfields. As soon as I get back, I'm getting straight on that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The player podium is fucking back. Fuck. Up to 3 players per team are awarded points based on individual performance. These are the rules for everyone who has forgotten, including myself. Best player receives 3 points, second best receives 2 points, third best receives 1 point. Teams less than 3 outstanding players, their best performing player may receive less than 3 points, with players building up these points every week, being placed onto a leaderboard, and every week someone is awarded player of the week. God, fuck. Check this into my veins. And we start with the Friday night action, Arsenal versus Coventry. This was a bit of a walk in the park for Arteta's boys. I think everyone knew this was coming. I don't really think anyone really gave Cov much of a chance. Honestly, not really much of a basis to start your season off. I mean, Leeds last year had Arsenal away, second game of the season, got put in an absolute spliff. Same kind of style coming up straight away. Arsenal away. It's a difficult one. It's the hardest game on the calendar probably this year. And Coventry, to be fair, they've got it out of the way, get it out of their system, and they can start afresh next week. Points at the moment don't mean anything really. It is about performance, and to be honest, Coventry didn't really put in that good of a performance. Not a very encouraging one, but again, like you say, it's Arsenal. It's the biggest. It's well, not the biggest. It's the best team in the country at the moment, and yeah, you wouldn't expect anything less from Arsenal. A lot of positives. Obviously, yes, it's only Coventry, but I mean, you could like I say this all the time. You only beat the people in front of you. Arsenal did that. They did it quite convincingly as well for me. Really good attacking play, really fluid. The team looked really connected. They looked really together. I guess after coming off the back of a really good season, winning the Community Shield is always nice. It's always a good way to get the season up and running. It's a glorified friendly, but it's helpful. You'd rather win it than not. And yeah, a lot of good signs for me. And one of those good signs was Solis. He looked very direct and very, very promising actually from that left wing. For me, well, not quite similar in the sense that Trossard plays, but I think Solis probably has the potential to be better. I never really rated Trossard that much at Arsenal, and Solis has left a really good mark on a day where, coming into that left hand side, there's always been, well, not always, but like for the last few years, there's been talk of that left wing, and people like Martinelli and Trossard have been playing there. Solis has come in now, and people are still, obviously, there's a lot of talk about Vinny early on in the window. People still saying, okay, they need a statement signing in that position. But, if he keeps up these kind of performances, I think there's definitely a future for him. Getting an assist early on, really nice ball across to Havertz. And yeah, I think it's a really good start to his Arsenal time. Calafiori got off to a really, really positive start. Always good on that left hand side for Arsenal, but the turn and the pass for the assist, I've just realised it was the Calafiori, not Solis assist. Oops. But yeah, it's like 2 in the morning at the moment. You've got to give me a little bit of leeway. I'm literally recording this. I'm leaving about 7 hours to go to Greenfield, so give me a bit of a break. But yeah, Calafiori with a really nice pass into the box, really good turn, and overall, just really no issues down that left hand side. A really solid first game of the season for the geezer. But the man who impressed me the most was Martin Odegaard. Back to his best, really, in that game. Linking up the midfield and the attack really, really well. Looked really comfortable and really positive, which is how he kind of lacked a lot last season. But if the Martin Odegaard of years gone by can come back for us, I think show glimpses there. I think this could be a really good year for the guy. Really good performance in the Community Shield, and he brought that through. Scored a goal, obviously scuffed it a little bit, but you don't complain how they go in. It's numbers on the board, and he's got himself up and running for the season, which honestly I think can be really good for the guy. Lacked in end product a lot last year, lacked in performances, but these are two things that he seems to have changed for this game at least, which is always good. And we move on to home versus Man United. What a game. I'm a massive, massive fan of the Tigers' work. Got I'm not going to say lucky, but they benefited from the poor work from United. The marking for both goals was egregious. Harry Maguire grabbed Mbuemo for the first goal, which I cannot go unnoticed. Lamon's made a great save for that first goal. Honestly, it was really good work to push out onto the post at such close range. But Ajay was there first, completely lost his man and got there in the end. Same for the second goal, man. Shaw playing everyone on side, and Mendy gets there for the second. I'm going to be honest. Hull defensively looked a bit shaky. They benefited a lot from the fact that United were awful in that game going forward. They looked so disconnected from each other. The balls into the box were not finding the man. There were no runs into the box, massively delayed. I guess having Sesko up top changed that, but then the cross quality still wasn't fantastic, and he didn't take advantage of the opportunities he was given. Fernandez, Tielemans, and Santos all having a really poor game in there, so I think Hull did benefit from that in that sense, and having a lot of bodies back, especially when United failed to push people forward. They looked really poor when they sprang forward on the counter. United, I think, played into Hull's strengths massively, gave them massive overloads. But at times, Hull looked shaky at the back, and I think that is going to possibly come back and bite them at times going forward this season. In terms of results wise and performance wise, this is a great way to start the year. No one gave them a chance at all. I put them in 20th. And already that looks to be a poor decision. But you know what? It's a long, long year, and I think while there are massive positives to take from this from Hull, no game was ever perfect, really. And I think there are a few things that they need to work on, especially when it comes to the defence. Some balls with the boxer connection, the connection between the goalkeeper and the defenders in themselves wasn't great. Obviously, there's new bodies in there, so it will take a bit of time to adjust. But yeah, amazing start to the season. For me, Ryan Giles was really good on that left hand side. He was isolated quite frequently, which I think is a testament to Man United's poor structure integrity, but really, really positive on that left hand side. I think he benefited a lot from being able to be a winger, or a wing back. I think he in that Luton team that come up. I think he was, but he benefited from being able to get down that left hand side, put some really good crosses in. Looked really sharp on that left, and honestly, for me, I think if he's here, I'm thinking of picking up where he left off from that Luton side, because I thought he looked good last time he was in the Prem. I'm going to check this. I'm going to check this live right now. See if I'm right. That's Spotify. I'm going to close that down. Close that down. Bang. Ryan Giles, Luton. Yeah, he was. Okay, I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. Um, didn't play too much in the thing, but yeah, didn't look bad none the less. Can we work, please? Yeah. That was a bit of a side quest. I do apologise, but good work, Ryan Giles. Second for me is Ollie McBurney. Got himself in some really good positions. I think what I worked out. So I watched the Palace highlights, and for me, Mateta didn't do well enough with the chances he was given. Um, this can go two ways. This if you get chances but don't score as a striker, you can get chances in where you do really well to work your way into the chance. You lose your man, you make a really good run, something like that, but it just doesn't come off for you. Good save is made, whatever. Or a lot of the times where a lot of the work is done for you as a striker, which Mateta had in this Palace game. It's a bit of a spoiler for what I'm going to say going forward, but still, where the work is done for you and you fail to capitalise on that chance, whether it's a good ball across the box and you miss it, or you overhit the shot, whatever. For me, McBurney was the former of the two. He did have a few chances. Lamon's made some good saves, but his link up play was fantastic, man. That number 10 that I can't off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. Again, you got to cut me some slack here. But that number 10 he linked up with really well, brought him into the game fantastically at times. A really good run, which was failed to capitalise on, where he took it past the United midfield, brought it forward. This is a guy that I hadn't heard of in ages, and pops up, scores the winner in the playoffs, and has an amazing game against United, which I think honestly really, really good work. And he could put a few away this season if he keeps getting himself in those chances. He could honestly hit a double-digit season pretty easily. And it is Zalakis with the 3 points, massively revered for that debut. A lot of positive talk about him, and it is fairly so. Really good saves, look really confident himself. Obviously, the connection between the defenders, new country, whatever, it's going to take him a bit of time to bed in that sense. But really strong hands on the geezer. Kept out all of United's chances that they did have. They did have a few, they did get forward, but Zalakis was more than matched to it. But for me, for Manchester United, Senna Lamans was the best performing player actually, and I think Rashford was all right when he come off the bench. Offered a lot more on that left hand side than Cunha did, but yeah, Senna Lamans really kept United in that game. Which saying that against Hull, when you look at the teams on paper, obviously no disrespect to Hull, but United are vastly superior. The fact that Lamans had to keep them in the game is pretty poor from United's perspective, and Carrick for me has a lot of work to do because they were tactically outdone in that game. Moving on to another surprising result, Ipswich 2, Sunderland 1. Sunderland kind of lacked a bit of bite for me in that game. I think they struggled at times really to compete with Ipswich. Ipswich looked a lot the much more motivated team. Obviously, I understand you'll get that from the newly promoted teams. But Ipswich had a bit more to their game for me. Gary O'Neill's coming in, not a manager that I particularly like or think is very good, but honestly, I think he outperformed Labrie. A few questions asked about the geezer last season, and honestly, they come about again, lacking in the wings again for me. The few mistakes that weren't there last year. Obviously, it'll take time to iron that out, given we're going into the season. But honestly, not a great start for Sunderland. Not a very good performance. The performance always is what you look for first in the early games in the year, and it's not a promising sign for Sunderland. For Ipswich, they battled it out really well, capitalised on the mistake, and Clark did a really well to get that goal off in the end. Honestly, it's a great start, man. A win like that after how long it took them last time out. A lot of players are still there from that team. A lot of new faces though as well. And I think that's a really good confidence booster for teams like Ipswich and Hull. Winning the first game can really do a lot to take you forward, and that's a really good start for the Tractor Boys. Marcelino Nunez, very revered in that part of Norwich and hated in the other. A really good start for me in that midfield. Really brought a bit of tenacity and a bit of bite that he does bring for that Ipswich team. Really good block off the clearance away from goal as well at one point. Good challenge on Bobby. And yeah, just brought that kind of energy, that Pitbull-esque vibe in the midfield that Ipswich I think are really going to revere having, really going to enjoy having. They have just signed Lukic and Palacios, which might see Nunez out the team a little bit. Because I mean, Palacios is a fantastic midfielder, and Lukic has got Premier League experience where Nunez maybe lacks. But I mean, he's given O'Neill a decision to make by keeping a performance like that. Emerson for me with a really really good showing there on his debut to get 2 points. His work with Enciso was great. I think he, as a striker, really nice feet, really fluid. He's got that kind of Evan Nielsen vibe that I really, really like in some modern strikers. And I think if he keeps that going, I'm going to really enjoy watching Emerson play. I mean, not necessarily an out and out player, looking to involve others. Tried to get Maeda an opportunity, really good to make the space for the geezer to get into the box. Had a chance of Enciso that he made, which really nice little bit of feet going out wide to get the ball, and I think that works really well, especially with people like Maeda who scored a lot of goals for Celtic. Got Fatawu who's very electric, can get in behind defenders if space is made for him, and then obviously Enciso who a bit more of a facilitating kind of player. But I think that's a really good dynamic that we're going to see from Emerson. Well, based off this game, obviously we're not going to jump to conclusions. It is game one, but that's a very very promising start for me. And technically the best player on the pitch by a country mile, Julio Enciso. Back in Ipswich colours, not really given a good run of it first time around for me, but I mean, this was just amazing. The way watching him play in those highlights was just incredible. He just absolutely marshalled everything for Ipswich. Honestly, was a contender for Player of the Week. Really, really good play. Unlocked that first goal all on his own for Emerson. Came off the pitch. Do you think he had a little bit of an injury worry, which is a concern because based on that, he could be very, very much a star player to watch going forward this season. Yeah, like I said, everything that I said about the work for Emerson could be said again from Enciso's perspective. Actually did get him behind, had a chance which he put over the bar. Maybe on another day he scores that, maybe on a more important, when it's a bit more important, he might have put it away. But no, honestly, massive performance there from Enciso, really reminding Premier League fans what he's about. Angulo in there really for the goal was important at the time, and a really nicely taken free kick as well. I think that was really good work, but again, I think we need to look at the fact that Sunderland need wide players. They started Trey Hume on the wing, who is a right back, or full back, I guess you can say. Trey Hume is a full back, shouldn't be starting on the wing, and then Angulo, who they signed the end of in the January last summer. What in January last season, and did not impress. Really nice bit of technical play on the goal, but again, not amazing game from him overall. He is in because he scored. I can say that. Um, with like I don't mind saying it, like it is just the case. And honestly, if I'm Sunderland, again, like I said, need winger options. Someone like Matthias Sule would re-energise this wing team, giving Bobby a lot more service. Yeah, it's just not just poor so far transfer window wise from Sunderland. Given Noah Sadiki 2 points, I think he was really good in that midfield. A lot came from him. He won the ball back quite a lot doing defensively. And also, he was actually trying to get the ball forward a little bit. When Sunderland had these half chances, a lot of the time it did come through him, which is good performance from Sadiki. Um, a good start to the season for him. Obviously, not great Sunderland wise, but yeah, a work to be done there from a Mackem perspective. And a big old result. Brentford absolutely walked all over Spurs. First half especially, they were great, man. Spurs barely got a look in. Brentford, every time they went forward, they looked like they were going to score. Keith Andrews continues to prove to people that question him wrong. This guy, honestly, has worked some serious magic for Brentford. The way that they like hold so firm and resolute defensively, but then they are so killer when they get forward. The team look really like linked in together. They look like they've got a really good core of players there, and they've improved fantastically on some of the signings with some of the signings they've made. Spurs do not look in it at all. They looked tired. They looked poor. They looked very mistake prone. A lot of giveaways. Kinski with two poor involvements in the last two goals. And I mean, Igor Thiago missed his penalty. Like it could have been a lot worse for Spurs in the end on a goal wise. An off day for Thiago on that one. Missed a few chances, missed a penalty, but it's first game of the season. I don't really expect miracles out of everybody. But yeah, Spurs really need to work on everything. Really, they didn't look great. Bentancur came on, didn't impress me. Fernandez came on and didn't do enough. The new signings didn't perform well enough for me. They have brought in, obviously, they spent a lot of money now on Savio and Marmoush. That's, for me, where Spurs can hold their head up and say, okay, we've had a very good window here. Maybe a backup goalkeeper or a goalkeeper in case you don't trust Kinski going forward with Vicario going to Juventus. But yeah, they're just really poor performance. I thought you kind of thought that when De Zerbi come in, this kind of stuff would be eked out, but it seems to me that the team needs a lot of time to bed. Midfield was a key reason why Spurs lost that game. New faces in there that struggled to play together. Bergwijn made a lot of mistakes, and Janot was there to hoover them up. Scored a goal, which is always great. Generally, overall, his play was just great. I said I don't think Brentford should keep going with Jensen and Janot, but I mean they seem to be doing fairly well with them so far. Both of them getting on a score sheet. I think that's true. No, it's not true. It's just not true at all. Janot getting on the score sheet. Really nicely taken with his goal. And yeah, just continually proving me wrong. So I mean, it's good performance and a point well earned for me. Keane Lewis Potter in the first half was creating a lot and really well worked in the first goal of getting into space, completely unmarked, completely loses any man that might have been on him, and really puts it away really well. They have just signed El Hadji Malik Diouf. I do wonder how that impacts his game time. And to be honest, if he'll get that much, because Diouf is a fantastic fullback. So, yeah, Lewis Potter. It's unlucky, man. They've just gone out and spent 40 million on a good foot on a left back after he's put in a really good performance. I feel a bit bad for the geezer. But I mean, the main man in that one, Mamadou Sangare, fantastic debut. Honestly, he absolutely marshalled everything in that game. Club record signing, and honestly, he looked worth every penny. Spurs didn't know how to deal with him. He was all over them, winning the ball. Honestly, just generally dictating the play in a really fantastic manner. And that's a fine start to your Brentford career. Just giving Mikey Moore a point for Spurs. No one really impressed me in that one, but I think Mikey Moore did really well to get in behind when sometimes when Tell had the ball. On another day, he's a young lad, obviously not the most experienced, might have got to him a little bit, but on another day he could have had a goal or two, which I think for him is a promising sign. If you're getting in behind like that as a young lad, starting on the wing for I think it's his first start in the Prem. I wouldn't know, but that's definitely first start of the season. I mean, shake off the rust, and then that's a goal or two in there for the geezer. And yeah, I think he did really well to get in that space. Obviously, well made by Tell, but I don't think the general play from the geezer was good enough to get a point. Maybe I'm wrong there. Have a go at me if you want. I don't really care. Everton 2, Palace 0, and for me, Everton looked just a bit the better team. I think their control in the midfield was better. I think they looked more threatening when they went forward. Like I said earlier, I mentioned it well, not brief, I spoke for fucking ages about it, but Mateta, poor, missing some of those chances, really has to do better in my book. I mean, if you're looking to leave, I don't know if obviously I'm not saying he's done it on purpose, but he's looking to leave. Obviously, slightly distracted, probably hindering his performance quite a little bit, and missed honestly some really good chances to win the game. I mean, a really good save made by Pickford on one of them, which is fair enough. But yeah, Everton's control in the midfield was great in that game. They Hackney and Armstrong outperformed Wharton and Kamada for me, even. And Everton just looked more threatening going forward and ultimately took advantage of their chances. Could have had a penalty. I don't think it was offside, so obviously swings and roundabouts. But yeah, a good Everton win for me. Palace looked very okay. They had a few chances, got the ball in the midfield a little bit, but honestly, nothing really inspiring. This is the kind of game that honestly I think that it kind of points out the gulf between the two teams. I've got Everton fairly high on my predictions, of Palace more towards the relegation zone, and a performance like that from both teams, I think, just kind of reinforces that almost. I give a point to Iliman Ndiaye, a really, really nice cross onto the head of Barry for the second goal. Not as involved as he probably would like to be, I think. A lot of the play came, honestly, through the middle, through Dewsbury Hall and the boys in the midfield. But yeah, give him the ball and he makes magic. That is a good example of what Ndiaye can do. He gets one chance on the ball and he just does really well with it. On the right hand side, I don't know if he's a right winger. Don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, on that right hand side, I don't think they got the ball to him as much as they probably should have given the quality of player he is. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. They won the game in the end, but I mean, he got the ball in one very noticeable moment. Floats a beautiful ball straight onto the head of Tieno Barry, and yeah, just shows what the geese can do. Need to get him on the ball more, if anything. Harrison Armstrong with a great performance at midfield. Hackney looked great as well. I think the two of them together played really, really good stuff. Controlled that game in the middle of the park. Defensively, offensively, I think really, really good stuff. Won the ball back a lot, 3 good challenges, pressing really well, and then taking the ball forward and getting chances going really well. For me, Armstrong was the standout of the two. I think Hackney a bit of more of a reputation coming from Middlesbrough, one of the players of the season last year, obviously in a team that didn't go up. But yeah, Armstrong for me can't go unnoticed. That was a really, really good showing. And Moyes mentioned he probably wouldn't have been in the team without injuries, which is a bit mean, but like also true. But he's obviously definitely made a case to continue starting in that team for me. But it's the main man. It's gonna be just another season of Dewsbury Hall wonder stuff for Everton. Maybe not being in Europe might actually help them this year. They've strengthened quite well, especially in the midfield. Still a right back needed. Maybe one more wide forward option, but yeah, I think Dewsbury Hall is really going to spearhead them, and a mint little finish that was for their goal straight after the penalty shout. Does what he does best, and his general attacking players look great in that game. It's going to be another big points haul for Dewsbury, or maybe in the 20s again this year. Palace started the game quite brightly, and a lot of that came through Eddie Nketiah, and a lot of really good balls into the box for Mateta. Nketiah was one of the further back forwards, one of the more drifting wide kind of players, one of the more creative attacking midfielder-esque roles in that 3-4-2-1. And I think he played it quite well. I'll be real with you. I think he did quite a good job in that position. Fed Mateta quite well. Made some really good runs. General build-up play was good, but Mateta failed to convert. So a performance that might go under the radar, but for me, I think it was worth noting. The last game on that Saturday run of fixtures, Forest nil, Leeds 1. A bit of a scrappier one, quite an even balanced game to be fair. Both teams having a fair share of chances each. A few scuffy moments in each boxes, but Leeds eventually come out on top. I saw someone with a really interesting theory about the wall for the free kick, which I kind of agree with, in the sense that having a wall for a lot of free kicks actually scrambles the brain of goalkeepers. I understand if it's a good shooting position, you are just giving them free rein to kick the ball at the goal. But they do that in training a lot, man. They just face shots quite a lot consistently like that. So maybe not having a wall in some situations. Obviously, if it's close to the goal, it's difficult to get it up and over. But if they're on the angle that Stack was, potentially just a waste of time because would have blindsided Sell slightly. Gives the ball went through the wall as well, which is poor from them. But yeah, I think it honestly kind of hindered them. And Stack obviously great from the free kick. You always know he's going to be. Uh, Not a lot really to separate the two teams on this one. These are two teams that potentially could finish at fairly similar places in the table this season. But yeah, I mean, for Forest, from a Forest end, you hope it's not more of the same from the season just gone by. A lot of up and downs. You wonder what Glasner has to offer going forward. But I mean, it's not the worst performance in the world. A 0-0, I think, probably would have reflected the game result, game performance a little bit better. Igor Jesus, in the same McBurney sense, got in some really good positions, some really decent headed efforts. I think hit the upright once. But yeah, got himself into some really good chances. Probably deserved a goal. I think it's fair enough to say. But yeah, man, good effort from Jesus. Honestly, I think that is confidence for him to keep and go in a starting role. On another day, he does score. Obviously, it's the first game of the season. You're not going to be your very very best, you wouldn't think, but a few people have been, but not everyone is. It will take you a while to get back up to speed. But yeah, donning that a number 11 shirt, I think that's a good sign for the geezer. And James McAtee, man, I thought he slotted into that midfield and actually created quite a few chances. Forest didn't miss Anderson a whole heap. I think the combination of Sangare deeper and McAtee going forward a bit more worked quite well. If that is the case going forward this season, honestly, they might be all right. You know, if they can keep Gibbs White, I think they might be okay. Because McAtee looked pretty good at making chances from deep from Forest. They've obviously got Gibbs White in a more advanced position, but yeah, promising sign for McAtee himself. Obviously, couldn't help them get the result in the end. Slightly unlucky. I quite liked James Justin on that left hand side. I want to say, whichever wing he was on. I think yeah, it was the left. He was causing quite a lot of problems. Put a lot of mileage in, getting up and down that left hand side flank, and doing a job offensively and defensively, which I guess is what you want from a winger. Really wing back, really good solid performance from the guy. I mean, Gunbenson's going to come in and he's probably going to struggle to dispossess him, but I mean, it's a good start either way. Gone Brendan Aronson for 2 points. I think he got himself involved really well. He got involved in quite a lot of chances on the break. There was one chance where he did really well to make space for himself and try and get a pass off. Not the best ball in the world, but I mean it's good effort from the geezer nonetheless. That was a feature of that game for me. Aronson was creating quite a bit and actually looked very good in that one. Came off for Okafor, which I think Okafor is the better player. I think Okafor and Wilson is where you would go going forward, but it's a good performance from Aronson nonetheless. But it is the same man from last year, Anton Stack, with a brilliant midfield performance overall. Defensively great, going forward, created a bit, not as offensively prevalent as he usually is. From a creative sense, obviously scored his free kick, which won them the game in the end, so that has to go a long way. But yeah, it's just another great Stack performance and another great post on Instagram afterwards. So, mate, keep it up as far as I'm concerned. I am donning my Bath City shirt in this video because I cannot wear a Villa shirt for the first player podium after watching that. I have not watched the full game. I'm going to keep it completely a book with you. The first half for me, that was all that really mattered because of just the damage that we did to ourselves. Torres, awful for that first goal, which we no matter what we did in that game, whether we passed it out from the back or whether we tried to kick it long, we were shit at both. We couldn't put three passes together. We lost the ball so much, and whenever we hoofed it forward, whenever we actually kicked the ball forward, the clearances were never going even anywhere remotely close to any of our players. It was so frustrating to watch, and we entirely deserved everything that we got from that game. We deserved to be 7-0 down at half time. I'm going to be completely honest with you. De Kuyp had some great chances that just didn't go his way. Um, Going down to 10 didn't help, but I've got a lot to say about that one in a little bit. It's a very, very harrowing start to the season from a Villa perspective. We've had a lot going on behind the scenes. The core of our team's been taken out. I'm not excusing this performance. I'm just trying to build up a point that I want to make using the off season as the reason for my concern slightly. A lot of change is always a difficult one to adjust to. Players need to take time to get to know each other, get to understand each other. Um, we've lost starting goalkeeper, starting centre back, starting left back, starting midfielder, starting winger, starting striker. That's 7 players that we are down from last season. Jackson coming in for Watkins seems to be happening. We're looking at Rafael Leao as an option on the wing, which I would be very happy with. We do need another winger option, and obviously a centre half. I talked to Harwood Bellis. We've lost out on Ordonez, which is a crying shame. I really like that guy, and we really should have gone in for him and really tried to make it stick. But for me, the fact that we've made so much change and we struggled that badly is very worrying. I expect to see Suzuki in the team. This is a bit of a separate one. I expect to see Suzuki in the team at some point. I think we need 2 centre halves, to be honest with you, because I don't want. I'm not confident in Tyrone Mings as a backup, as your main left-sided centre back backup. It just doesn't fill me with any hope at all. Um, for Brighton perspective, this was great. They looked fantastic. Their press was brilliant. They hunted us down in packs. Like, they were so determined to make us pay for being shit, and they just did. They were so that every time they went forward, they looked like they were just going to make us pay. And yeah, obviously, honestly, one of the quickest times I've ever lost confidence into the start of the season. And Brighton were fantastic. Their quality of finishing was great from different areas of the pitch as well. Yeah, really, really well done to Seagulls. Rutter's link-up play was great. In a game where you score 4, it's a bit weird if your striker doesn't get involved, but his link-up play was fantastic. He worked so well with Hinchwood and De Kuyper in behind him, and it just worked. It worked so well. Rutter, obviously, not renowned particularly for his goal scoring, more of a like an attacking midfielder type player, but he played so well up front in that game. Obviously helped by our inadequacies, but again, can only beat you against. Honestly, the fact that he's got 2 points is a disservice to the Kuiper for how great he was. He ran Matty Cash absolutely ragged. Cash had no hope on that wing, and De Kuyper was fantastic. Like, genuinely world class performance from a very, very good player, a player that I rate quite highly, have always rated quite highly, and he put us to the sword. 2 technically goals. Obviously, the one was a Lindelof own goal, but not gonna hate the geezer for that. Yeah, goal, was it a goal and assist? I think it was in the end. Yeah, it was. Just overall, just a fantastic performance. But it is our game week 1 and our first of the 26-27 season. Our player of the week, Jack Hinchelwood. Well done, honestly. 2 fantastically taken goals, really calm, mature, composed finishes. And he plays all over the pitch for Brighton, but he looked great in that attacking role. Towards the end of last season, he was put there more, and he just did the job, man. He really did. Come up with some really good, important goals. Overall, his attacking play looked great, and it just translated into the season. He looks raring to go, and he absolutely done us over. Best player on the pitch, best player of the weekend for me. I'm going to preface all of this by saying he's a new signing. I'm not going to give up on him already, obviously. Jesus fucking Christ, Joao Gomez. That is probably the worst Premier League debut I've seen in a very long time. It puts Kusanov to shame with how bad he was. Stupid, meaningless yellow card 9 minutes in. Um, Goes away 5 minutes later, commits a foul that very feasibly, if he wasn't on a yellow, could have been his first. Two mistakes leading to goals, one directly from Hinchelwood, and then goes and gets himself sent off. The fact that we didn't concede after we went down to 10 is probably a testament to how poor of a first game he had. Joao, I'm all here for you. I'm behind you. I want to back you to the end of the earth. You did not make it easy for me in that one. My stepbrother, who's a Blues fan, was sat there absolutely pissing himself. A few of the Wolves fans at the pub that I work at were giving me shit, and completely fair enough, man, because he just looked like he didn't have a clue, which hurts me to say. Newcastle Liverpool now. For me, I thought Newcastle looked a better team. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think on the counter attack they looked really, really sharp and really dangerous. Pretty good in the midfield as well. Fairly even midfield battle, but I think maybe you could say Newcastle pipped it, maybe not. But yeah, the fact that they allowed that penalty to happen so late in the game is crazy for me. The game should have been wrapped up beforehand. If you're a Newcastle fan, you can feel a bit aggrieved. It was a penalty. It was a foul. If you don't think that's a foul, then I think you need to give your head a little bit of a wobble. But yeah, man, it's just so late. These games are going on. It's like 95th minute, and then you score in the 99th. It's just come on, man. You can't allow that to take place. I think that's poor from a rules perspective. But Liverpool, I think, need to sharpen up a little bit. They looked a little bit shaky at times at the back. They didn't look fantastic for me. I know it's first game, new manager, new system, everything. I'm completely fine with that. I understand that, but it's the same for Newcastle, and Newcastle for me looked like the better team. This is a promising game for a Newcastle perspective. Really, I think they deserve the win. Isak converts again, just not impressive, man. So much money spent on those two players for them to not really do anything of note, man. I find it baffling how two players worth so much money and with so much obvious talent. I mean, Isak had a chance where the ball hit him in the breasts from a corner, which he just couldn't convert. Didn't take the penalty in front of the Newcastle fans that had been giving him shit all game, which was poor from a mentality perspective from me. I would have been all over that. I would have wanted to shut them the fuck up, and he didn't do that. Sobosai with a really good pen, to be fair, so I can't really slander it. But yeah, I think for me, very, very positive signs from a Newcastle perspective. Joseph Willock came off the bench and had a really nice finish. That was a really nice goal from Joe Willock. Really, really well done. Still got a place clearly in this Newcastle team. I wrote him off a long time ago, but he keeps popping up off the bench and putting in some of the performances that he did at times last season. That's really positive stuff. Not too much outside of his goal, but I think the goal in itself really well done from him. So I think he deserves a point for it, and did obviously with the penalty in the end rescue the Geezers a goal. So a point. Well, I say rescue as if they grabbed it from the clutches of defeat, but it did play a significant role in them getting the point in the end. So fair play to Monsieur Willock. For me, Newcastle fans can be very, very safe with Lewis Miley in their midfield. Bruno G, Tonali both gone. Joelinton probably looking at leaving from what I've heard. But Miley is a fantastic way to replace. Honestly, straight from within. He knows the club. He stepped straight into that midfield and looked faultless for me. Really good in that eight-ish kind of role. Very good going back, and obviously going forward, he's very composed, far beyond his age. Really good passing forward. It's really good signs. I am a big fan of Lewis Miley, and honestly, I think he should start for Newcastle, man. I don't see really why not. A really good young midfield core of Stoa and Miley there. Obviously, Stoa first game of the season. Wasn't I didn't see a lot in the highlights from him. Obviously, I didn't get to watch a full game. I didn't get a very good reading of his overall play. So, yeah. Almost surprisingly, Johan Wissa for me with 3 points. I think he looked really good in that 10 role. Really, honestly, go like taking the ball forward looked great. Really, really nicely done assist to Willock for that second goal. And I think there's a role definitely going forward for him in that 10. Come off the back of a very poor season last time out, but this is a much more promising start. I think he's actually already on more points than he got for the entirety of last year, which is crazy to me. But yeah, really good start for Wissa, man. Showing the player that he showed at Brentford 2 seasons ago, and in a bit of a new role. But I think honestly it'll work. Cody Gakpo coming with a real sweet finish for that first Liverpool goal. Really, really good stuff for me. I was a big fan of that finish. That's a really technically advanced, powerful into the corner and just creeping away from Hornacek's hand. By the way, I hate the fact that he's number 21. No goalkeeper should be the number 21. That is just disgraceful. But moving on. Yeah, Gakpo was linked to Spurs, linked to City as well. But yeah, if he's going to keep scoring goals like that, mate, keep him involved, man. Definitely. So that was a really nice finish from a player that I don't particularly like too much. But mate, that's good work from the geezer, man. That's really really good stuff. And yeah, good way to take the forward season forward. But Ryan Gravenberch was Liverpool's best player for me, involved in quite a lot of the build-up from what I saw from Liverpool, and in general just did really good job in that midfield. Looked better than Szoboszlai for me, looked better than McAllister when McAllister came on. Um, yeah, not the strongest overall performance from Liverpool. Not a lot of names popping out to me, but Gravenberch definitely was one of them. Ending off the Sunday games with City versus Bournemouth. Not great chance conversion from City. Haaland had an off day, which he has every 4 or so games where he gets in his chances and just can't put them away. Some games he does nothing all game and then gets one chance and scores. But he does have these games sometimes where he has chances but he just can't convert. And that was one of them in that day. Really struggled to find the back of the net. Had actually three odd, three-ish really good opportunities to bring City back into the game and just couldn't take them. Had to rely on Gahey and Gvardiol, two fairly unorthodox goal scorers in the end there for City. But Bournemouth looked positive, and I think that I'm a big Marco Rosa fan. I think that he's a really decent manager and perfect for this Bournemouth team. Um, I think this is encouraging signs. They looked good going forward. They looked pretty threatening with some of the players they had there, and yeah, I don't think you can be too upset. Obviously, just onside goal, and I mean, okay, what you can be upset is the awful marking on Gahey. He was in acres of space. That is just not good enough for a Premier League team. But the overall play in the end from Bournemouth, outside of moments of poor defensive wise, keeping the player on side and then shoddy marking on Gahey for that first goal, I think there are a lot of positives to be taken there for the Cherries. Yeah, Gvardiol rescuing the game, that has a lot of weight to it. A really neat little finish. Put it past Petrovic, who didn't really stand a chance, and was just onside and won City the game in the end. So honestly, for me, that'll do. I think that's point worthy. Gahey stepped into the midfield with a really mature performance, I thought. He looked really comfortable in a bit of a deeper role. Got the goal in the end. The ball was just right on his head, and it was in miles of space. Fair play to him for losing. Whoever, you know what? I scratch that. I don't think he's ever been marked. Fair play for him to going under the radar and getting the shot on target and powerful enough to beat the keeper. But yeah, if he keeps that up, man, I mean, I'll crack on in midfield. I mean, you're spending 100 million on Bawardi if you got Gahey right there who can, for the seems of it, just do a job there anyway. But the star man, Ryan Shirky, how he doesn't start every game for me is mind-boggling. Foden is half the player Shirky is. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Semenyo outperformed Foden on that other side. But I don't get it, man. Shirky is such a good football player. He's so technically capable and so like influential he doesn't really have a bad game. Like he so rarely plays poorly, and it's just such. I mean, from a selfish perspective, such a joy to watch that I don't get what you gain from keeping him out of the team. Let him roam free in that 10 role. Just let him have the freedom of the park just to mess around, and he will come up with something special, and he did. Great cross to Gahey and a lovely bit of feet and ball through to Gvardiol for that goal. If that doesn't say start me over phone, I don't know what can. Evan Nielsen really proved why I really like him in the way that he created that. Well, not created entirely, but assisted that first goal. That was beautiful. That pass was amazing, and he was in great space to receive the ball to make the room for Tavernier in the box as well. Which is why I really like the way that Evan Nilsson operates as a striker. Obviously, it's a bit hypocritical the way that I love. Obviously, we all love our big bruising strikers as well. But I think for me, Evan Nilsson just really, really does it. He operates in that channel. If you're playing FM, channel forward role fantastically. He's so good at doing that, and I think that yeah, man, if you're getting space to make for pacey people like Ryan, and then people with the clinicality of Tavernier and impact that Clivert can have, then you've got a dangerous little team going on there. But it was Tav with the goal, picking up where he left off from a really good season last campaign. Really nicely put away. Didn't do too much in and around that else, but had another chance which just whistled past the post. Really nicely taken as well. He's got a really good strike on him, man. He's got a really technically good kick of the ball, and yeah, man, good stuff from Tavernier. Now we move on finally to the last game, the Monday Night Football, Chelsea versus Fulham. Fulham looked a lot better than I thought they were going to be honest. Going forward, they actually had a little bit of challenge about them. Benefited from Sanchez being shite, but that's neither here nor there. Chelsea, really, really positive going forward. Defensively, Sanchez let them down. Obviously, there's going to be slight issues. They've gone to a new system, brought in your big influx of players like Chelsea do. But for me, they've got one of the best managers in the league. And going forward, those three players just clicked. Interesting team selection for me. I think they need more natural fullbacks out there. Hato, I don't think was fantastic as a left-sided player, as a left wing back. I think he will do better in the three on the left side. And Gusto, for me, I think Palestra will slot in and outperform Gusto. But Lacroix looked amazing. I thought Lacroix looked really, really good. Was in really good space to get that goal as well. I don't know if that's something that Chelsea are going to look to do as he goes forward. I think Lavia dropped back in a lot, which kind of worked well. I mean, they had a lot of defensive players on the pitch, but the attacking quality they had was just levels above. I think this system that Chelsea have got going is really good. I was speaking to my old man after the game. He was very, very happy as a Chelsea fan. But for Fulham, there are a few positive signs. They did get forward. It was a very entertaining game. Maybe not as bad as I thought they were going to be under Arbeloa. I want to talk about all these three as an entity. Pedro, good finish on that goal. Really good work for the other one. Rodgers, nice finish. Palmer, good goal, good finish. These three worked so well together. You can tell that Rodgers and Palmer are mates because they just operated as an entity so fantastically well that like Fulham just didn't have a hope. Like this is going to cause issues this year. Pedro as a nine, dropping in deep, making space for someone like Palmer is gonna, and Rodgers are gonna be really good. And then you've got people like Esteval, Kenda on the bench. You can bring Neto on in that role if you really want. It's lovely stuff, man. It's going to be really enjoyable to watch. Chelsea are going to be a pleasure to watch this season, I think. Rodgers slotted into that team and just didn't look out of place in that left 10 role. He is where he played for us last year at times, in a 10 role that would exploit the wide spaces, which he did more in the second half than the first half. But in that 10 where he can exploit the wide spaces and hold middle as well. Bit of a freer role, brilliant. And that was the best I've seen Cole Palmer play football in a long time. He looked so sharp. He looked so creatively sparky. He just looked amazing. And Chelsea have got something fantastic with these three. And again, I'm going to say it again, one of the better games I've seen in a while from Cole Palmer. And he, for me, slightly pips you the two. Definitely does deserve the 3 points. Gonzalo Garcia, right place, right time to get that goal. Headed into the ground really nicely, man. Really technically good little header. Fulham didn't have too much in terms of service for him. That I can't remember his name. Palacios didn't get on the ball too much, and Bob struggled a little bit as well. But yeah, give him some good service. I think there is a couple goals in Garcia this season for Fulham. I think that's a good sign. He was very quick to that goal, which shows that he can be pretty decent in the box, and he showed that for Madrid last year as well quite a bit. So yeah, fair play to the geezer. Josh King, while Fulham looked pretty decent, especially in the first half, a lot of the good flowing chances from Fulham came through him. Obviously, he took his finish quite nicely. Sanchez has to do better there still, but good work from King in the end to get the shot off anyway. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff from Josh King. I really like that guy. Had a breakout year last year, and I think he could really take Fulham forward this year. They're going to rely on him quite a lot. And breathe. These are our point scorers to start the season. Oh, dearie me, Joao. We haven't had someone on this low points ever. This is a record for the player podium series. Our point scorers are and points losers are at the top, and it's so weird going from the 46 point table to just three now. But you have your likes of your Salakis, your Sangaris, all these lads that have done so well. And then the player of the week for game week one, this will definitely move in time to somewhere else on here. But Jack Hinchelwood, really well done. That's gonna be it from me, boys. Um, Pleasure as always. I'm gonna try edit this now, get this out for Friday. If not, it'll be a Monday job. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, boys. I'm so happy to be back at the player podium. I love recording these and making these and analysing football in a more like individual player aspect. Thank you very much for watching again, boys, and enjoy yourselves. Cheers.